You need to be using in-ear monitors when you play live, whether you're playing in a stadium like this or in a little bar or club. It takes some getting used to, and at first it might not feel natural, but you'll be protecting your hearing and you'll actually be playing like you can hear yourself and your bandmates. So what kind of ears should you get? At this point, I have a good amount of experience with various ears and ear-related equipment at different price points, and so I'll share what I know. In this video, we're going to talk about a few different levels of in-ear monitors, all of which I've used. On the low end, there's the Shure 215s and the 535s, which you can get at any Guitar Center and are $100 and $500 respectively. In the middle of the spectrum, there's the Waves Customs. And then at the low end of the high end, there's the Fir Audio Neon4 for $2,300 and the Fir Audio Xenon6s for $4,000. Spoiler alert, the $4,000 in-ears are in fact the best ones. That should be no surprise. But in the lower and middle tiers, there's a little bit more nuance to it, and I'll get into that.
This hill's too loud for drones.
You feel good tonight? Come on. Get up out your seats. Come on. Say something.
Let's talk about the Shure 215s. So they're around $100. You can get them at any Guitar Center, and the general consensus out there is that these are trash. That's actually not my opinion. I think that they're okay. I've used them on stages all around the world for years. I think the reason people hate them is because they have a reputation for breaking, which they do. They always break. I've had like 4 pairs of these, they always break. There's also the 535 model of these, which has more drivers and a wider frequency spectrum. I had these at 1.2. I thought they sounded marginally better, but they broke as well. There's nothing wrong with this tier of in-ears, but just get the 215s. There's no point in spending $500 if it's only gonna be marginally better and it's just gonna break anyway. If you're gonna spend more money, actually spend more money and jump to the next tier in terms of sound and build quality. Okay, next is the middle of the spectrum, the Waves Customs. These ears are $800 and it's an interesting product. I really admire what this company's doing. With higher end in-ears, you often have the option of getting what's called custom molds. This is when they take a silicone impression of your ears and then they make the in-ears to fit the specific shape of your ears and ear canal, which results in much better isolation on stage. But this kind of thing can't be mass produced because it's unique to you, and so these things are more expensive and you often find them at the higher end of the price spectrum. Well, this company Waves found a way to do something like that, but much more cheaply. Basically, you download an app and you take a 3D digital scan of your ears using your phone. And then you send them the 3D scan and they send you back a set of custom fitted ears. Well, I did this and I would honestly say that it works pretty well. My first impression was, wow, this is significantly better isolation than non-custom ears. But there's a drawback. While the isolation component was there, I found the actual sound quality to be significantly not as good as my supposedly lower level Shure 215s. So I ended up switching back to my Shure 215s. I do think this company is really onto something with the whole digital molds concept. And I think it's good that they're trying to take the high-end molds thing and make it as affordable as possible. But I kind of think they need to keep iterating and really nail it before I'm going to want to use them. That's just me. They are okay though. Okay, let's talk about the really good stuff. So right now I have 2 demo pairs of ears from Fir Audio. The Neon4s, which are around $2,300, and the Xenon6s, which are around $4,000. Both of these models are from their highest tier of ears, the Frontier series. These ones that I have here with me today are not custom molds, but I got my molds taken a few weeks ago by Mila at Fir Audio, and I'm using this show today to decide which one of these 2 models should I get custom molds of. The Neon4s were described to me as having more clarity and naturalness to the sound, and the Xenon6s were described to me as having a warmer sound with more bass response. At first I thought that warmer by definition would mean that some of the highs were rolled off or something like that. And I thought to myself, of course I want to hear the full frequency spectrum of all these beautiful synth patches that I'm playing. So I thought that I was going to want the Neon4s. But I immediately gravitated towards the Xenon6s. They are warmer, but in a way that somehow doesn't seem to sacrifice the frequency spectrum. And most importantly, it feels healthier for my ears. Like there's no harshness to it. With these, I can hear everything with incredible clarity without having to turn the volume up loud. Another thing that I found is that when you're on really high-end ears, there's a lot more leeway with the mix. Meaning, when I'm on my Shure 215s, I need the levels just right, I need the panning just right, before I can even feel good on stage. But when you can really hear everything well, it doesn't need to be that dialed in to feel good in a minimum kind of way. With these, I feel like I can be way less fussy on stage. Like, as long as I have decent level of everything, it kind of automatically sounds good. But remember, I don't have my molds yet. Those are just a stock demo pair, so let's go talk to my friend who does have his molds. You got the XE6s, yeah?
Yes, I have the XE6s.
And you have the actual molds.
Right here, the
Boom,
actual
right?
molds.
How do you like them?
I love them. The 3D image that I get sonically is not like anything I've experienced before. The bass response is huge, but not overpowering. It's huge, but it's clear. It makes me kind of feel like I'm not listening through a small speaker in my ear, but rather, you know, a full spectrum sonic situation.
And you were saying that there's kind of something particular about the way that it hits your ear that's distinct from non-molded earbuds because it's like hitting more of your ear?
Yeah, I feel like the conduction, the sound conduction that happens as a result of it being so close to the bones of my skull make it so that if I'm singing, I can hear really clearly. I can perceive the notes I'm singing really easily, and I just like I get a really nice picture of what the harmonic content is. I'm not confused. I'm not straining to hear things, even if it's not loud. It doesn't even have to be loud.
What? That delay. So why am I making the choice to get really expensive in-ear monitors? Well, for one, look at this room. When they were checking the kick drum earlier, I was hearing that sound smack off the back wall and come back to us like seconds later. In other words, by default, it sounds like trash in here. This is a loud room, I play in a big band, and I need to do everything I can to make sure that I can hear myself so that I can play well, because I'm not trying to not sound good in front of 80,000 people. Two, as I've said previously, I've owned like 4 pairs of the Shure 215s and 1 pair of the 535s. That's like $1,000 right there. So I'd rather just actually spend the money that I need to spend to get the sound that I need. Even when I'm choosing between the $2,000 Firs and the $4,000 Firs, there's a part of me that's like, do I really need the $4,000 ones? I mean, I could do it with the $2,000 ones, they sound good, but if I'm spending that kind of money already, I'd rather just fully send it and really have something I'm gonna be happy with. I think there's decent reasons to get any of the ears that I've talked about in this video. Like I said, those $100 Shure 215s have gotten me by in some of the biggest stages all around the world. I don't hate those. I actually do recommend them if you're gonna be at that price point. You just gotta know they're gonna break and maybe get the Guitar Center Pro coverage so you can plan for that.
Great, 2, 3, 4. Guys, you know you better watch out. Some girls are only
Intro, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so I hope that was helpful. If there's anything that I really want to impart onto people, it's to start using in-ears sooner rather than later. For literally like 20 years, I never got used to earplugs, I never wore in-ears, and I just trashed my hearing at club and basement shows. There's just no reason to do that. Playing on ears doesn't have to be expensive or complicated. And you will start playing like you can actually hear yourself and your bandmates, which for me wasn't even something that I knew I was missing until I started playing on ears. All right, see you next time. Hope this was helpful. This is when they take a silicone impression of your ears, and so then they make the ears to fit the specific shape of your ears and ear canal. Great, thanks.